All right, welcome to the wonderful world of political cartoons. One of my main goals for you in government is to become more informed. And one way we're going to do that is by examining political cartoons pretty much on a weekly basis. And so we're going to go through some common things and some political cartoon, um, just kind of how they're structured, and then you guys are going to have an opportunity to do some practice analysis using the sheets that we will use to analyze our political cartoons. So I'm sure you've all seen these, especially this last year being an election year with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. They provided ample fodder for political cartoonists, and really a lot of them were quite entertaining. So, you know, a lot of them are meant to be funny. Um, I'm showing you cartoons that some will be pro Hillary, some will be pro Donald. I'm not taking a stance, I'm just showing you a wide array of cartoons here. Um, a couple of things I want to point out from the start. There are some common symbols in political cartoons. The donkey, for instance, commonly refers to or represents the Democratic Party. The elephant, I don't know if I have one of those cartoons. Um, yeah, I do not. But an elephant is a common symbol of the Republican Party. You probably are familiar with the Uncle Sam, but those are kind of our common symbols that we'll look at. Um, so if we look at different strategies cartoonists might use, um, they use a variety of techniques. Some involve words, some involve no words, but generally they are poking fun at some sort of topical thing of the day. That's why it's important that we are informed. Probably the most um, common theme, or one of the biggest strategies cartoonists use, is the use of symbolism. The use of simple objects to stand for larger concepts or ideas. So if you see here, this cartoon is really looking. If you look at the symbolism in here, it's using a dartboard and darts to represent the Obama administration's foreign policy. Now we could interpret that further to see that he hasn't hit the target very much with his foreign policy, which would mean that the cartoonist probably does not have a high opinion of Barack Obama in his foreign policy, and that it hasn't hit um, a lot. So that's one common strategy that a political cartoonist might use to get their point across. Another strategy is exaggeration. So if you look at a lot of the symbolism in your political cartoons, if it's referring to a particular person, sometimes they over exaggerate their political or their physical features. Like Barack Obama is typically depicted with big ears. There was a kind of a smile they put with George Bush. Richard Nixon had the jowls, um, that he was symbolized with, or that he was represented with. But sometimes they'll take a certain feature and over exaggerate it to make a point. For example, in this cartoon, the long nose, well, we know and kind of associate that with Pinocchio and, lying. And that's what this cartoonist is getting at there as well. Other times, um, they'll just flat out label things. Cartoonists will label things to kind of help you discern what the point is here. If the man in the suit wasn't labeled Obama here, and the child wasn't labeled America, you would have a hard time determining what the point of the cartoon was, even with the quotes coming from each. So it's important sometimes that we understand what they're labeling and why they're labeling it that way to, again, get to the point of the cartoon. Um, At other times, they will use analogies to compare two unlike things, um, and to get their point across. Sometimes it will be, the analogies will be, in thought bubble. Sometimes it'll be more of what the picture is. Here it's Hillary Clinton herding sheep. That's the analogy that the cartoonist is getting across. Irony is another common feature. It's the difference between the way things are and the way things should be. Um, again, here, the Obamacare risk pool, you've got some labeling, you've got some analogies going on. You see old people swimming with sharks and trying to get somebody young and healthy to jump into the pool. The point is that they use these techniques, and it's your job to determine what the issue of the political cartoon is, what you think the cartoonist's opinion of the issue is, and what the message of the cartoon might be. If you kind of know the overall theme here in this first point, what the cartoon is about, and you can kind of determine what the cartoonist's opinion is, then you can begin to develop, hey, what is the message of the cartoon? And then you can start to look at, hey, what methods are they using to get their point across? What other opinions might people have about the issue at hand? And what other techniques could the cartoonist have used to make their cartoon more persuasive? So we're going to take a chance here, or in some time here, and analyze some political cartoons. So this first one we're going to look at here together. You see there is some labeling going on here, definitely. You've got some mountaintops labeled Hillary Benghazi scandal. You've got another one labeled Hillary Clinton email scandal, and you've got another one labeled the Clinton Foundation scandal. And then you've got a little molehill down here labeled Trump, and you've got a van that is labeled the Washington Post reporters. And they all seem to be examining other objects. They've got magnifying glasses and those types of things. One guy even has like a periscope looking thing, it looks like, in the front, examining this little molehill that says Trump. Immediately what comes to mind for me is, the expression making a mountain out of a molehill. And I think, knowing that expression, looking at all these labeling, look at the mountains that are labeled, these Hillary Clinton scandals, and then the Trump molehill. I believe that is what the reporter is looking at, saying, that is what the cartoonist is saying. The reporters are trying to make it a mountain out of relatively a small Trump molehill, where Hillary Clinton has all these scandals that are indeed mountains that the Washington Post reporters are ignoring. So then you can kind of see that's kind of the overall message of the cartoon. The cartoonist, you could again say, kind of has the opinion that Trump's got this little molehill, you're examining him too closely, too much, you're trying to make something out of nothing, and you're ignoring all these big things of Hillary Clinton that should be looked at further. So that's just one cartoon. I've got several cartoons here to follow, and I'll pause on each one. I want you to pick one of them, and I want you to just try to tell me what the message of the cartoon is. We'll go over more what the form looks like when we actually do the analysis, but I just want you to pick out what is the message of the cartoon and tell me what are the objects and symbols that you see in the cartoon that help you determine what you think the message of the cartoon is. So this doesn't have to be anything that's going to be handed in, but we're going to use it for a discussion point when we get into more of our political cartoon discussion when I'm back in class. So just quickly, you just need to write down in your notes or type in your notes somewhere, what do you think the message of the cartoon is, and what are the objects and symbols that you see? So those are the two things we'll be looking at. So here are the cartoons you can choose from. Here's cartoon 1. Here is cartoon 2. Here is cartoon 3. So again, you're going to choose one of those cartoons, 1, 2, or 3, and tell me, what do you think the message of the cartoon is, and what are the objects and symbols that you see in the cartoon that helps you determine what the message of the cartoon is. And we will pick up with that on Friday.